Kitchen's a Distinction are a three-piece alternative band to say the least, but really the group played with a lot of genres, including psych and, even college rock. They're mainly known for the college rock stuff. But all the while, the group introduced one-of-a-kind shoegaze soundscapes and outstanding chemistry for the first time in mainstream rock. Really, Kitchen's a Distinction were way ahead of their time, yet right where they needed to be. The band consisted of bassist and vocalist Patrick Fitzgerald, drummer Daniel Goodwin, and guitarist Julian Swales, whose guitar work on every album just never failed to impress. 5 years before encountering Fitzgerald at a party, college friends Swales and Goodwin were already beginning to write some music. But when they became a trio, well, they really began to rehearse under the Kitchen's Distinction moniker, a name lifted from a local home decor business. The group recorded their first outing, The Last Gasp Death Shuffle, in a one-day session in a basement, with guitarist Swells featured on lead vocals, making it a rare appearance of him doing any vocal duties. And the lead single would go on to do well enough to get them a deal with the famous indie label One Little Indian Records. The group's first album with One Little Indian was Love Is Hell, released in 1989 after Fitzgerald put his medical career on hold, as he was a doctor. And the album would do amazing on radio and even in record stores and spawn some very successful singles, for a smaller release. And it would be well received, although they were compared to acts like Cocteau Twins and the Chameleons.
And not hiding behind sunglasses,
fringes, leather jackets,
and
pointy shoes.
Other long things that you can hide behind.
It's all a front that these bands put out just to hide behind because their music basically hasn't got much depth to it.
Unfortunately, it's backfired on us because that means we don't sell any records.
Yeah, and we're skinned.
Kitchen's The Distinction would have an interesting early career, as the group didn't seem to let the music business negate their sense of humor, or oftentimes sense of duty via their music. As the group would do one-off shows as Toilets of Destruction, appearing in drag shows and such, kind of being like a David Bowie cover band most of the time. And they would have some very political songs via Margaret's Injection, hinting at, the end of Margaret Thatcher. And would also have a handful of anti-gay bashing songs and similar issue tunes throughout their career. All things that will come into play later. Yet their second release, Strange Free World, released in 1991, which is my personal favorite, featured a darker take on their sound, and was put on display with the singles Railway, Drive That Fast, and Quick as Rainbows. And the album featured a much heavier lean on the shoegaze guitars and layering, done just so masterfully by Swells. The band really came together sound-wise here, and overall production is at its peak. This album should be considered a shoegaze classic. Problems would arise with their third album, though, The Death of Cool, even though it had a more pop take on their sound. Vocally, it was pretty heavy-duty, calling on issues with gay rights and some in-your-face takes on the subject matter that sadly turned off the label and the press and, pretty much everyone. Fitzgerald has stated how the group's direction may have hindered their overall success, and I agree, as this would be the last time we would get a raw take from the band in this form. As with their fourth outing, Cowboys and Indians, well, we saw some real friction as the label refused to release the album as is, really taking a more micromanagement approach with this one, assuming there wasn't any lead single, I guess. So they would in turn hire an outside source, a supposedly successful producer, to write and record a new song with the band. A tune that I think is among their worst, which is a track ironically and hilariously called Come On Now, in pure Kitchens of Distinction humor. And with the release and overall disinterest and negative reviews of Cowboys and Indians, the band was promptly dropped from One Little Indian Records. However, the band would change their name to Kitchens OD and sign with Fierce Panda Records and release the single Feel My Genie, which did well on radio and was well received by fans. In a lot of ways, the track is a return to form. However, later that same year in 1996, the group would disband. Patrick Fitzgerald would then go on to form the band Fruit, an oddball take on the glam stuff that I'm guessing was a thing back then. Fitzgerald would also be part of the group Lost Girls, as well as release music solo under Steven Hero. As for Julian Swells, well, he would go on to score a lot of movies and film over the years. On September 30th, 2013, the album Folly was released, featuring the reunited trio of Fitzgerald, Swells, and Goodwin, and was released as Kitchens of Distinction 5th new studio album, their first new album in 19 years. And the album would feature a lot of standout sounds as it deals with a lot of different kind of heavy shoegaze stuff as usual, but a lot of more operatic stuff as well. But it is a great listen if you can get your hands on the album. It's very hard to find, but I got one. And you can just tell the guys were glad to be back. The album does take a lot of influence from David Bowie, in my opinion, and even features kind of a tribute track.
Queens, paint a red disc on your forehead, some lightning cross your cheek.
Folly would be basically self-released and remains a rarity today. Kitchens of Distinction would do a few reunion shows here and there, and Fitzgerald would play their live stuff throughout the years, but Folly would prove to be the band's last full album to date. And while the group should have been much bigger, they are highly respected in the community and have been cited by many musicians as heavy influences. And along with all of their EPs and full albums and singles, their full catalog really is just remarkable. And with their second and third albums, I feel the band has cemented their place in shoegaze history, regardless of their pioneer status. And the group stands out heavily among their contemporaries. Thanks for joining me, Staunch Gang, and please check out Kitchens of Distinction. I'll be doing some more videos, so let me know who I should cover down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, and consider donating to the channel. See you soon, Staunch Gang.